Please click here to like this video. Your comments are welcome. Subscribe to get new videos. So BIM adoption across the world. This is actually going to be a global picture of how BIM is adopted across the world. Okay, so let's get straight away into it. So we had this image which I took from online. Okay, that indicates the level of BIM implementation in the world. The countries marked red are where countries where there are mandatory use of BIM in public projects. The green are where we have recommendations for the use of BIM in projects. Okay, so there are policies that recommend the use of the BIM technology in projects. Then the yellow are independent and isolated initiatives for the use of BIM. So those yellow countries, there is no major nationwide policies, but probably certain entities or the professional bodies have put it on themselves, okay, just to make sure they encourage their members to take serious hold on BIM and implement it. So that is actually the rough picture. So when you come into the Americas, the United States of America, okay, here we have that here, and then Alaska, which is also part of America, and then Canada, we have those ones in there. Uh, for those places, it is mandatory for public projects, for government projects, that you have to use BIM because of the benefits they get from it. See, there's huge cut in terms of losses. Errors are minimized, and that is actually the best part of it. We are going to go ahead to talk more about the BIM, so I don't want to go ahead of myself. Let's look at downwards. When you come in, you have Brazil that their independent use of it. But let me state also that this image, this plan, this map is a bit old. I think it's around 2016, 2017. Okay. So there are other world research which has also added some other countries into it. We'll be looking at that as well. Okay, so when we come in here to Africa, we see that Ivory Coast, we see South Africa, we see Egypt, we see Saudi Arabia. So okay, so Egypt first, then I can talk about the Middle East. So Saudi Arabia, uh, those ones, they are independent and isolated initiatives for the use of BIM. As I said, this is an old image. We have India, we have also China. Okay, we have China, we have Australia, that is mandatory. Okay, New Zealand is mandatory. Japan, okay, Japan, they are recommended. Okay, that you use that. When you come now to Europe, you have Spain that is using BIM. You have France, you have Germany, you have the United Kingdom, where it is mandatory. For United Kingdom, they have been at the forefront of pushing this concept of BIM. Okay, so it's mandatory. When you go to those Baltic regions, we have Sweden, we have Norway, we have Finland. Okay, that is also making it mandatory for the use of BIM in public projects. Now, as I said, this is a bit an old image, just to give you an idea. There has been some improvement, okay, with this map, which is a bit late, like earlier, okay, let's say later, okay, like this is much more recent. So that should tell you some other countries that have also joined. So you could see Nigeria also joining it. So I will be giving you a hint on how you can also have your country being brought up onto it. Okay, we have Ethiopia, we have Tanzania also being an addition. Okay, so those other countries that were here, like Egypt was here in the first one, you're not seeing it again. It means that they are still on their old level, and then the rest of it, they are now improving. Okay, so they are still, I mean, BIM is still used in Saudi Arabia, BIM is still used in Egypt, and it's at the highest, it is at a high point. Okay, so now you can see Russia that they've also made it mandatory for public construction as well. Okay, so this is to give you a fair idea. Countries that do not have any coloration for it are countries that haven't actually pushed for it for it to be adopted. Though you may have individual use of it. I can speak about Ghana. Okay, so for Ghana, the professional bodies haven't actually made it mandatory for their members to have it. Unlike South Africa, where you can't practice, where it will be difficult for you to practice if you're not using BIM. You see, this kind of global picture of BIM adoption is very vital for our sustenance in terms of our work as professionals in each country. Because you see, if an investor from Europe or from other country wants to come um, into a particular country in Africa or elsewhere, they look at such images. You see, that's why I didn't pick this picture from somewhere, but I picked it from the same sources that they'll be picking it from. And then you know. So when your country is not colored and it's plain like that, they see you to be a place where you are still not being compliant. So what will happen is that they will go to the countries that are being compliant and pick consultants there, and then the consultants in your country become more like sub consultants for the other ones. But the only difference is not about the competence; it's only about BIM. And so there are numerous ones that I have seen um, in Ghana, though here there is undocumented, there's isolated migration. A lot of the professional like organizations now, architectural firms, engineering firms are all migrating into BIM, and they are very serious with that. Okay, so this is also another map that you have that will tell you when they legislated or they made it mandatory. The years are being placed in that. Okay, so when you look at a country like Chile, you see that the BIM was mandated for public projects by 2020. Okay, and look, they've been working on this for ages. And so if you are in here, if your country hasn't adopted yet, what you have to do, I always advise the professional bodies that, hey, look, you can pick this as a project and make sure your members adopt it. Give them some timelines, okay? And then publish it. As you publish it, some of these research companies, they don't come into the country, but they read articles, they read articles from online, and they will see that, okay, so there is that kind of mandatory push for such things. And then your name, your country's name will soon be on the map as it is. So we'll be going now straight into telling you much more about BIM, and then we take it from here. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Please click here to like this video. Your comments are welcome. Subscribe to get new videos.